Hello, I'm Janet Townend. So, Talk to Your Baby, how did it start? Well, living as volunteers in Tanzania, we were moving around with the people in the community. We lived in the community, we walked around the market shopping. We didn't have a car, so we walked everywhere, or we travelled on public buses. So we saw a lot of how people lived. One of the things that we noticed was that mothers, in general, didn't seem to be talking to their young babies. And this began to concern us, particularly as, with my background in language and literacy, I knew how important it was to talk to babies from birth and to talk to them a lot. In fact, it's been demonstrated internationally that the language skills of infants at 24 months is the best predictor of their success in literacy. In other words, the language skills of a 2-year-old are already predicting how the child is going to learn to read and write. So if we're not talking to babies under that age, then it's very difficult for them to reach their potential. Now, the journey from noticing this to spearheading a national initiative is much too long to talk about now, but just in brief, we started mentioning our concerns to people. And of course, the more you're aware, the more you notice. One day, my husband David and I were walking through a village, and there was a baby sitting in the doorway of a simple village house. You might call it a mud hut. And the baby was going, ah, ba, 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 ba. And usually in our society, if a baby's babbling, somebody around will babble back to the baby or smile or clap or do something. This baby was on his own. There was nobody around and nobody responded. And we looked at each other and said, what a tragedy. So we started telling everybody about what we'd noticed and asking lots of questions. And our colleagues and our friends said, yes, that's right, we don't talk to babies, should we? Why would we? They can't understand, they're babies. One lady in the same village where that baby was crooked her arm when David asked her if it was sensible to talk to 6-month-old babies. She did this and she said, if I talk to my 6-month-old baby, I'm talking to myself. So, little by little, people listened to what we were saying and put us in touch with people they knew or knew of who might have an interest. People working in early childhood, in health, in education, and in parenting education. And after some considerable time, we were in touch with a group of about 24 people who were involved in education and health, from government, from charities, from universities, and even the president's wife. We became very cheeky. We heard about somebody, we rang them up and we said, we'd really like to come and talk to you, when can we come? And astonishingly, they all said yes. And so we found ourselves in very grand offices in government ministries and even the president's wife's office, telling her personal assistant all about the importance of talking to babies. One of the people that we contacted was a man called Matthew Banks, who was the fairly new country director of Children in Crossfire in Tanzania. And he was already involved in early childhood work and became very excited about Talk to Your Baby. One of the people who was really thrilled about the idea was a man called Mr. Njagila, who was a senior official at the Ministry of Education. And he managed to find enough money in his budget to convene a meeting of about 24 people who were by this time interested and excited about the idea of Talk to Your Baby. And Matthew was one of those people. We had a 2-day meeting, and that was when the whole project became Tanzanian. It got its Tanzanian name, and our Tanzanian colleagues said, you must start by doing some research in Tanzania. The very next day, Matt rang us and said, I've got a little bit of money in my budget, which is enough to cover a small-scale research initiative in the north of the country. Can you get up there next week and talk to them? Well, fortunately, it was the vacation at the teacher training college where we worked, so we jumped on a bus, had a very, very long bus ride to the north of the country, met the potential partners, and within a couple of months, that research was underway. On that bus journey, there was a family with a baby. The bus journey was about 8 hours, and after 5 hours, the parents hadn't said a single word to that baby, and that kind of confirmed that we were doing the right thing. So from very small beginnings, just 2 people walking around Dar es Salaam, as somebody once said, this has grown and developed, and through Children in Crossfire and other contacts, many other opportunities came up. Children in Crossfire is now a strategic partner with ourselves and with the Ministry of Education in rolling out a national Talk to Your Baby campaign, and it's a multi-sectoral initiative, the voluntary sector and government working together for the benefit of Tanzania's children.
Ukiyatazama